All right, another episode of A Lifetime of Conversations.
Wow, you got through that one. All right, good.
Woo! Having a day. Having a day.
Aren't we all?
So how are you, Robert?
Oh, man, I'm doing well.
Hey.
It's been a crazy few days in this neighborhood, but we'll save that for the next podcast.
Oh, okay. All right. Having some suburban excitement.
Yeah,
That's
so,
always...
so if you listen to the next podcast. It'll be called Craziness in the Neighborhood.
Well, there was some just craziness going outside the planet these days. Yeah, I'm a little tired today. I waited up all morning and early mid-morning to watch Starship Flight 3 take its flight, and it was amazing. And it took off, and it launched out of Boca Chica, Texas. And
What, Texas?
Boca Chica?
Boca Chica.
Yeah, it's pretty much the town he built, where they built the rocket. It was like an old small town, and I guess he built it out. He bought it out, but then he built basically a village for his people to live there.
So the village people live there.
yeah, the Elon village people. You know,
Oh,
It's just
wow.
full of really smart engineers.
Yeah, so instead of a policeman and an Indian, they have an astronaut and an engineer.
Right? It still has to be a janitor, though.
Oh, of course, yeah.
You know, because no matter what, I don't think the janitor has an engineering degree, but someone needs to clean up, the garbage.
SpaceX, we are gonna. Oh no,
He's also the mascot.
yeah. We can't use copyrighted music. All right, so anyway, I'm sorry.
No, that was pretty much it. I mean, it was an epic launch. It went pretty well. I mean, sorta. The launch went well. All the rockets lit. It got further than it did last time. Like when I watched, I guess it wasn't that long ago. It was like less than 2 months ago that they launched the second one, and that exploded. And there you actually see it like puffball of smoke. All right, it's gone.
Right.
This time they got up. The stage separation worked, and everything was looking okay for a while. But then, the first stage booster, that again, everything is supposed to land, everything is supposed to come back.
Yeah.
Now I'm not quite sure if the booster itself was supposed to land, because it's way bigger than like the Falcon 9s and the Falcon Heavies. But yeah, it didn't come back. Eventually it just goes to black on the screen, and it's like sorry for the inconvenience. And then the guy comes on. It's just hysterical. He's like, we seem to have lost. I believe we lost the booster, right? And then you're like, oh, okay, all right. Starship's still flying, and epic. I have to be honest. The 4K video of it from the side of the ship, looking back at Earth at this kind of a skewed angle as the maneuvering thrusters turn it in space. I don't gimbal. Is it called gimbaling? I forget the name.
But it's crazy though.
It's amazing.
The thing goes, okay, yeah, the booster just blowed up, and Elon Musk is like, okay, well, that costs $800 million, but who cares?
They don't. But they planned for that.
Yeah,
That's the
he
whole,
don't care.
The whole idea.
What I'm doing, I lose $800 million, but look at what we're going to achieve because of it.
Right, and they got significantly further than the last flight test. And that's really the point. I know we all want to see it succeed, of course, but it didn't. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither was SpaceX or rockets. Landing the rockets is not easy. And this thing they're massive. We all really just want to see the whole chopstick thing, because he has this. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's a launch tower, right? That holds kind of these two arms that come together and basically kind of hold the rocket and guide it and can move it and stack it. But his idea was to, when this thing lands, catch it with the arms, and so that the weight is and it's also not creating a huge
So kind of soften the blow, so to say.
well, no, to actually
Absorb.
be the catch. The chopsticks are technically the landing legs, because the rocket's so big they didn't put legs on it. It's not possible. Not this version at any rate. But we just want to see if this works, which I don't think it will, but who knows? I'm not an engineer, but it just looks like something that's I mean, not for a while at any rate.
Whatever. If Daniel LaRusso can catch a fly with chopsticks, Elon Musk can catch a rocket ship with chopsticks.
Yeah, you can't doubt the guy, because he's like that kid that you tell you can't do this, and he just goes and reads books and practices and makes mistakes and then does it, and he's like, "See, I told you I could do it."
Yeah, you can't do that. Hold my non-alcoholic, non-sugary, non-caffeinated bubbling beverage while I prove you wrong.
He's like, "I will just spend 150 hours this week sleeping on the chair in the office. I don't care." But it was amazing. Again, the video was really good. Oh man, it really was good. I can't wait to kind of put it to video on YouTube so you can actually see it because it, or you look it up. I mean, it's phenomenal. We'll get there. It does make me wonder. I don't know how many launch, like they have to apply for the launches with the FAA and all that. Right. I don't know how many they have planned, but he's got a bunch of these things built, so he could literally in like a month or two just send another one.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's not the only one. He's not in short demand at this point. But we're gonna get there eventually.
So is the idea to go to the moon with this? Is that going to be the first stop?
I mean, you know how he started it. The idea was to go to Mars. His large end goal is the Mars thing. But in all essence, yes, the moon is absolutely the first stage. You know, because we can't do anything until we get there first, for the most part. But it's not even that. It's. I think it's just become a whole different thing. I mean, the reusability of rockets has been like epically game changing for the 21st century.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, definitely.
It literally changed the entire industry, and I think that is really more the focus these days. That's what companies are. I'm pretty much. They don't really care whether we're going to the moon or Mars. They're like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Just getting all your shit back so you can do it again is.
So we save money when you land this thing, right? Like, yeah, you think about it. Yes, of course.
Yeah, you got to fix it and do stuff to it. But yeah, you got it back.
And let me tell you, the overturn is not much. Like they don't. They check the systems and stuff, but a lot of you think they would have to swap the engines. No, like most of that stuff, the engines just get, they go back up. It worked the first time, it'll work again. The reusability. They're trying to catch everything. The fairings. This one was supposed to land in the ocean, the Starship, but what they wanted to demonstrate was the heat shield, because when this thing falls, most things like capsules, they fall straight, and the heat shield's on the bottom, right? Then they're kind of cone shaped. You've seen every astronaut capsule that's ever landed, but the Starship is a giant rocket, so it lands on it goes down in the atmosphere on its belly, and the heat shields are on that side, and then as it gets closer, it does like a flip maneuver to bring the bottom to the ground so that it can land, right, or slow down at least to be caught by the chopsticks, which is what idealistically was supposed to happen.
I love how he calls them chopsticks.
Yeah, they kind of are. I mean, and when you watch it, you're like, you're gonna catch that thing in the middle of those. They just look like two iron beams that come together, and it just kind of just holds on to it. It's like if you were holding like a large thing in between your two fingers, and it was kind of heavy, but you weren't holding any pressure because there were like lips on the end, so you kind of, I'm holding it.
I don't know, man. China must be pissed. It's like, now what the fuck are we gonna name our catch a rocket thing?
Oh my God, he misappropriated their culture. Sons of bitch.
Okay, hey, we catch him with a fork. How do you like that?
Actually, China doesn't care.
No,
China does. They are way ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, yeah, sure, whatever you got. I mean, and believe me, they'll give respect. I mean, because that's the thing. There's so many people out there. You can love him or hate him, Musk, but you can't deny the respect of the ingenuity and the accomplishment. You just can't. It's like,
insane.
well, yeah. I mean,
You can't ignore it.
No, you can't. You have to actually acknowledge it, and that's fine.
Yeah, it's not a belief. Like people are like, like Elon Musk is like a deity. It's fucking look at it. You could walk up to it and see the thing go.
Well, I mean, he's a deity to like an engineering point of view, or someone like that.
Yeah, but he exists.
Yeah. But it's funny because I think if anyone's kicking themselves, it's the Russians, because
what that dance they do. They look like.
Oh man, I had a mental image of Elon Musk doing the dance, which was even funnier. I can't even think of the music, but he, when he first started SpaceX, he had gone to the Russian government and was like, "Hey, can I buy one of your old Soyuz, one of your old rockets?" And they were just like, "No, you cannot have a rocket."
Are you crazy?
Like, yeah, they literally were like, "You're insane. We're not selling you a fucking rocket." Right? And he's like, "All right, whatever. I'll just build my own." Right? So, so he does. Now, obviously, that was probably harder, longer, and more time-consuming. But honestly, I think if he didn't, I think things might have gone a little differently. Right?
What would you have learned?
Well, I mean, he would have tweaked it and changed it and stuff like that. But I don't know if they're looking because it's proprietary and, they were used to just us ferrying rides up to the ISS for so many years. And who knows? That's why I said if anyone was kicking themselves, it would be the Russians. Because what if they did sell him that rocket and then, this happened and then be like, see, we helped the Americans by selling Elon Musk the rocket, But it ended up not being a thing, and he still talks about it. He's still a little jaded. You fly all the way to Russia, and you pull out this, briefcase full of money, and you're like, I want to buy a rocket. I think it was probably the way he said it. He's like, I want to buy one of your nuclear rockets, without the nuclear part. because that's what they are. They're ballistic missiles for the most part.
I guess.
But yeah.
Yeah, like, let me think. No.
Yeah. And it's not like NASA and the Roscosmos space agency, they have a good relationship. They have to. They have people living on the ISS with each other in very close confines for 20 years now.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't not have some sort of civility behind it all. And plus, I don't think astronauts think like military guys do. Like,
yeah, well, yeah, and that they probably fight like brothers. Is like, you stole my space ice cream. I'm telling Dad. Dad, American took ice cream.
No vodka for you.
Man, I wonder if they drink vodka.
They did. You know, there's a whole thing on that. There was a point where the United States was like, no, absolutely no alcohol in space. Are you insane? They're astronauts. And like in the beginning, the Russians would always have vodka, and they'd be celebrating and drinking, and the Americans were on the other side, like just like shaking their heads, going, "Man, I really love New Year's on Earth."
Yeah, right. I mean,
they did ban it eventually, but yeah, there was certain things they're not allowed to do.
Oh man, hey, man, you're in space. You're just boring. I mean,
well, it was again. It goes back to culture. Like to them, like before a big launch, we do a shot, and then you're done. We do a shot. It's like, man, how many other shots are you doing in between?
Yeah.
Systems check. All right, everything's nominal. We do a shot. Like, no, stop.
I'm not gonna crash into anything.
Oh, God. But anyway, I don't want to go too far off tangent, but yeah, that's about it. I didn't have, since it just happened this morning,
right.
I didn't have too much more to add to it. It was just, it's amazing to watch. And fail or succeed, still succeeded, and it still looked amazing.
Oh, man, I still have plenty of golden material on drunken Russian astronauts.
Oh, well, you could use them. Go for it. I mean, hey, it's all you.
Yeah. All right, time for the spacewalk. Touch nose, A, B. Actually, I was listening to the radio today. Like when I'm at work, I listen to this talk radio. It's like, funny, whatever. And they were talking about when you fly an airplane, there's actually a legal limit of alcohol when you could fly, like a civilian could fly a plane. I think that's insane. It should be zero tolerance.
Well, you think okay, all right. So,
You
that's like driving a car.
Yeah,
So it has like a 0.8 or whatever the number is for a car.
But I think for a plane, it's very, very low, and you can't drink for 8 hours before you fly the plane.
Okay.
So enough. I guess maybe it's for if you're hungover, it's their way of not breaking your chops, maybe or something. But
yeah, I guess I don't know. Yeah. I never really would have thought about it that way, but like a lot of jobs actually have that. Like even. When I worked at the casino, they had a strict policy of you could not drink 8 hours before your shift. And you're like, I worked the 11 o'clock shift. So, if you're drinking at like 11 a.m., like you're messing everything up for the rest of your day anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So it's like, I don't drink myself, so I don't really care.
Right.
But I always found that kind of funny because people really didn't listen to it. They went out, oh, yeah, I came from the bar. I got a couple hours when I came home and I'm here. But you work the grave shift and they're just like, sleeping and groggy and
that sucks.
That is, I know that the policy exists, but yeah, I agree. I mean, for a plane, it should be something. So one thing I wanted to tack on to this, we're gonna do a dual space cast today. This one is kind of I almost want to say a little more important because SpaceX will definitely launch another rocket soon, maybe even the next few months. But this other thing may not happen for a long time, which is the solar eclipse.
Oh, yeah.
The total solar eclipse that is happening on April 8th. They're calling it the Great North American Eclipse or the Great American Eclipse.
Right.
Because, it'll be totally visible through 3 countries, Mexico, the United States, and Canada. And it kind of just sidelongs right through the Americas.
Yeah, they were talking about that on the radio, too. They said that solar eclipse happened in other parts of the world, but not in one place that you can see it all the time. I don't know.
Right. Well, in the eclipse, yeah. So anybody obviously on the other side of the world won't see this because it'll be.
But they'll have their own.
Right. They have their own. Yes, that's why I'm saying this only happens here at this, and it's actually recorded as the longest duration of an eclipse will happen ever, which is 4 minutes, 28.13 seconds.
Wow.
Have you seen a solar eclipse before?
I saw the one that was like 6 years ago.
Okay. Yeah, I seen that one too.
I looked at the
beach.
reflection in the swimming pool. They say that's a good way to look at it without.
Yeah, we borrowed somebody's glasses. I wasn't ready for it because we had the kid and they don't really care. Right. But now they sell. That's what I was going to bring up. I remember, and it's funny because you have an incredible memory for the most obscure things when we were children.
Right.
I don't know what grade it was. I'll say second or between second and fourth grade. I don't remember. But there was a solar eclipse. And it was a big deal. Like, we all rushed to the window. And we're all like, I remember like there's blinds and you're like moving the blinds and you're staring out the window looking at the solar eclipse.
Didn't they make us make something out of paper that we could look at it with?
We didn't make shit, okay? What was this, 1987, 85? We made nothing. They just sent us to the window, and the teacher's like, okay, don't look directly at it. Turn away.
Don't look too long.
Right. Yeah, you look at it and then turn away. That was what we were told.
Jesus Christ.
Right. So this is the funny part. This is where I was going with that. It's like now you're ready for this. You buy a pair of glasses. They have these awesome solar glasses. They're like $5. You send them on the internet. Yeah. And then you can look directly at it. And nobody has to worry about it. But there is like a whole bunch of methods. You could put a pinhole in a piece of paper and look through it. You could do this thing with tinfoil and make like a cardboard thing so it reflects. Because it's really about
get
the
a pair
photons.
of binoculars. This way you get a real
binoculars,
good look.
yeah.
Look
you
at it
definitely don't want to use any kind of magnified
my eyes
glass.
Jeez.
But I mean, I remember it when I did see it, and they are amazing. Really, it's more scientific in the sense that they have all kinds of events and all kinds of like projects planned because of the visibility of the corona behind it. So like when you see it, you can actually see that arc of the glow.
The out.
I guess they call it like the prominences. Prominence. Prominences.
A lifetime of prominences.
But it's like it's like a pearl tinted, with blood red prominence around it. I mean, I love the way they look. I mean, who doesn't?
What time is it going to be?
I couldn't get the exact time, and I think that because of it's like between 12 p.m. and 2 p.m. is the time. You could, I mean, they have an app for it now, which is kind of funny.
Yeah,
you get this, like, I'm gonna download this app, right? Then it happened, and now the app is useless for like 100 years. Well, not 100 years, but still. You're like, what do I do with this thing? I'll put it on sleep.
Fuck it. I'm not uninstalling it.
I'm not gonna uninstall it because what if it's not there anymore? Well, then if it's not there anymore, then you don't need it. I mean, what does it matter?
Yeah. So is it going to be? Do you know what day of the week it's going to be? Because I want to see it.
Oh yeah, the 8th. I think it's a Tuesday, Monday. I don't know. I mean, I have to work, and I work a night shift, so if I want to actually see it, I have to wake up stupid early. And even then, I don't have any glasses, so I'll just have to.
I'll just DVR.
I'll just have to look real quick.
Yeah.
Peek. Like peek and then turn away.
I'll tape it. I'll watch it when I come home.
It's fascinating too, and think like we always used to say, like don't look directly at the sun. Even when you're driving, I was trying to teach the kid when you're driving, and even at night when you have high beams from the people or with different colored lights, right? It's rough driving at night for some people. I don't particularly mind, but you find yourself always staring at the high beams. Like for some reason, that they're high beams, but your eyes fixate on them. And I was trying to tell her, you got to look away. Like, they have to like use your peripheral or kind of look off.
I block it with my hand.
Right, you can do that too, right? Yeah. And it's funny because that is also a valid method for when the sun is in your face. You block it with your hand, right? But what we never thought about as kids is like no one ever said, why? Like why? Why can't we look at the sun? Well, it hurts your eyes. But why? Right? You can go on with that why. Well, no one ever said, well, because the highly charged particles and photons from the sun are traveling, directly into your eyeballs, damaging your retina. Yeah. Like no one ever said that. They were just like, because it hurt your eyes.
Yeah.
But nowadays it's like you can actually figure out the science behind it so much easier, and that's the same concept to that little hole in the paper. Mm-hmm. You look through it because there's less of a chance that more damaging particles will pass through that tiny little hole as you're looking through it. So it's really just a probability game at that point. You're like, still getting some, but not as many. Most of the other ones are bouncing off.
Yeah, it's like secondhand sun. See, that's why I would be a shitty father. They'd be, Daddy, how come I can't look at the sun? Because it'll hurt your eyes. Why? Look at the sun. Ow, Daddy, that hurts. Are you going to do it again? No? Well, there you go.
I mean, those methods.
I don't
do
have to
work.
answer any more of your stupid questions.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think anybody has children and like doesn't see a barrage of stupid questions, but they're not stupid. That's the
No,
thing.
they're not because they don't know the answer.
To an adult, and
To
even
them, it's a
some
legit
adults
question.
these days, stupid questions seem like stupid questions. I'm like, no, the only stupid question is the question that wasn't answered.
Yeah,
You know, now you could be annoying like
Yeah.
by asking a follow-up question to the question of the question of the question that just continues on for all eternity. And even eventually, if you ask even ChatGPT, they get annoyed and stop answering you.
Oh, there's a great Louis C.K. skit about that.
Is there? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure there is. There
oh
must
my
be.
God.
I mean,
it's-
and he can't be
it's
the
so
only one
funny.
because
It's so funny. But this is hilarious. But yeah, my niece, I love her, man. She's in the what's this stage. Mm-hmm. Pick, what's this? It's a capo for my guitar. What does it do? Well, instead of the nut telling you the vibrating length of the string, I put it in the middle of the fretboard. So now I lengthen, I shorten the
you have
length.
to explain all of the things you said.
Yeah.
Like the nut, the fretboard, and the
No,
length
I didn't
and
go
the
that. I'm like,
vibration.
oh, yeah,
well, but that's a possibility because then because you always think about it. There has to be an understanding. It would be like if we were talking to someone who was talking about particle physics or quantum gravity. They're talking, explaining what we asked them, but we don't understand half of what they said.
Just
so they
not.
have to try to explain all of those other things. And at that point, yeah, you're mentally exhausted over going, this is why we use metaphors. Like, this is why you try to use metaphors because the kid just wants to understand. Like, you know, they want attention, but what is this?
What is this?
Well, I'm going to tell you what this is, but you have to promise me something. You got to remember later, so I don't have to tell you again.
Yeah, my garage door opener. What's this? How come there's two buttons? I'm like, I don't know because I'm an idiot. Don't ask me any more questions. I'm stupid and I don't know anything.
But you know what? That's what you can't do. That's the hardest
No,
part.
I would never.
No, I know. I'm just saying. But
That's in my head. I'm thinking this.
are you kidding? I can only. My father still tells the stories. How many the word why, or what, or how does this work, or it must have drove him absolutely insane his entire life. And to me, when I get it, I'm excited. I'm like, I don't know. Let's learn together.
Yeah, let's find out.
But we have it easy. Like we can just grab the nearest piece of technology and like
Yeah.
pop it up. Like, to find it out, like 30 years ago, it was a process.
Oh, my
grab the
God.
Encyclopedia Britannica. You know, you have to. He's on the phone,
Hoping it's not
calling
too
friends.
old and it's in it.
Right? Or it's not like an unupdated version or something.
Yeah, like get an Encyclopedia Britannica from 1950.
Yeah.
You can't look up John Kennedy. No, he's nothing. He's nothing.
But
Yeah.
I find it easier, and I think it's just a patience level. But whatever.
Or ask the physicist the question and have him like answer you for like 10 minutes, like with all this stuff going on over your head that you don't understand, and then look at him and go, "You have no idea what the hell you're talking about, you idiot."
Yeah, they still know more than we do.
Oh, in that,
Yeah, so I mean, the only reason I brought up the eclipse is I think anybody who's never seen one
go
definitely
stare
should
at
make the time. You got to at least check it out because I mean it's crazy not to. I've seen both lunar and solar, and you have to be lucky too. What if it's cloudy and it rains where you live?
Oh, that would
It doesn't mean the eclipse doesn't happen. It just
Yeah.
means that you suck and you miss
Oh
out.
man, that's like a fat
Yeah.
guy sitting in front of you at the movies.
I planned the whole day. I bought these glasses, and then it's overcast, and you're like, motherfucker. There's nothing you can do. Nothing. What are you going to do? Drive cross country to a place that's not, like, raining?
No, do you know what? Fuck this. I'm gonna live another 100 years.
Another 100.
Fuck this. I'm going to. That would be a great movie. And the montage of him drinking carrot juice every morning.
You know, but the one thing that I always think about with eclipse is that it's like the fact that we can predict it is amazing. And they did it actually a long time ago. I want to say 50s, 40s, 30s, maybe even earlier.
Oh no! Actually, that they could
The
predict
16
them.
or 1700s or something?
Yeah,
I don't remember.
no,
it was a long time ago.
I think if I'm not mistaken, was it Christopher Columbus that knew that a lunar eclipse was coming, and he wanted some of their vegetables and food to bring home with him on the journey, and they said no because we won't have enough to go through the winter.
Right.
And he said, "I'm gonna make the moon disappear, to threaten them." So the lunar eclipse. I mean, look this up because Neil deGrasse Tyson told the story on a
he?
podcast.
Yeah.
So I think
I mean,
it was
it would have to be written somewhere in like, journals.
and it scared the shit out of them, and they gave him vegetables and fruits.
That
and
was
stuff.
kind of the angle I was going. I wouldn't be surprised, right? But the fact that they can even predict this is amazing. Right?
Yeah, it
And
is
now we use
absolutely
computers,
amazing.
and it's pretty simple, and we take it for granted. But I always think, even 100 years ago, no, we knew 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 200 years ago, really not that long in our span of human retardational existence.
It's long enough where there was no such thing as a television or a radio.
Right. But all of the modern stuff. Yeah. But something like an eclipse, I always think, like, what did those people think was actually happening? And when you talk about ghost stories and beliefs and religion and end of the world and Nostradamus, like, that kind of shit to that kind of ignorance is
terrifying,
nightmare
probably,
fuel.
yeah.
Like, they are, like, I can only imagine, like, everyone coming up with a different scenario and, like, people freaking out, running around, like,
Fighting each other because their ideas are different.
Right. On top of just because there's no actual one answer. You know, now we take for granted, we're like, yeah, there's a solar eclipse. We're like, oh, okay. Like, we know it's just, you know, that the moon so happens to be relatively the same size as the sun at the distance at this one time that it makes this perfect thing.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
That
the
is
fact that
amazing.
the sun is, well, like 500,000 times larger than everything else, right? Or whatever. And the moon just happens to be the right size to fit over.
I know.
It's kind of amazing.
It is. And then your kid asks, Daddy, how come the moon went away last night? Because you didn't eat your vegetables.
You ask too many whys.
Yeah. And if you don't eat your vegetables tomorrow, Mommy's going to die. I'm sorry. That was too dark. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think you went a
Yeah,
little overboard with
a
that.
little bit. I meant to
But
say
that's okay.
I meant to say solar eclipse, but you know, that just came out instead.
Mommy's with the moon now.
She's a moonikin,
Go back to the fucking moonikin.
and you're a moonron.
You know, sadly enough, we talked about that. The Artemis program is in grave danger. They keep pushing it back. So this year, they picked the astronauts, right? They're all ready to go, but they pushed back due to funding. They're just bleeding money into the Artemis program, and they were supposed to launch the astronauts on the rocket with, you know, do the whole lunar trajectory thing.
Everything except for the landing.
Right. Exactly what they did the first time, but with people on. Mm-hmm. No moonikins. People. This is why I mentioned it, right? Yeah, and that got pushed back to 2025. So it's like, yeah. And it's a big deal because people are going, we're bleeding a lot of money into this. We could be building, you know, robots to go to Enceladus or Titan, like the moons of Saturn. Like, we could be using robots instead of putting all this money bleeding into people.
Yeah.
You know, and...
Yeah, because they spend so much more money to make sure the people don't die.
Right. You know, like, we don't care. That's why I don't really care if the
people
rocket blows up when
people
no
are
one's on it.
important.
Well, we are, you know, but especially
well, to
astronauts.
us, yeah.
Really, it's like job turnover rate. So, like, you know, a company spends a certain amount of money training someone, right? And they don't want them to just leave. That's why companies give incentives or, like, pay packets and stuff like that, right? And good training. Mm-hmm. You leave in 2 weeks, they just spent 2 weeks worth of effort training you. Think about training an astronaut for, like, 12 years, 15 years, right? And then, poof, they're gone. Like, yeah, we lost a human life, but people die every day. You don't hear them complain about people in slums and people in bad neighborhoods getting shot by drive-bys. But the fucking astronaut, man, we put a lot of money into that guy.
And not only did that guy get blown up, this guy just put in his 2-week notice. he found another job.
Yes, we got him. Another American astronaut. You are now Roscosmos.
You are part of our team now.
I guess it's okay to make fun of the Russians because we're still in like a pseudo Cold War. I don't know.
Yeah, a cool war.
If you guys just leave Ukraine alone, everyone will go back to the way it was.
Oh man, people are crazy.
They are.
Yeah.
It's okay. I don't want to tangent too far off the space thing, but I couldn't think of anything else space related. But you know, the Starship I was waiting for. You know, we all were. You know, just sitting there waiting.
Airplanes.
And I'll be waiting again. We're gonna launch again, and eventually we'll have an epic launch that will land or go successful or something. So,
Something's got to
let's hope for it.
Something's got to get.
But that's all I've got for you today.
Ah, cool. Yeah, well, next time it launches, we'll talk about it again. I'm sure it'll be sometime soon.
Yep. All right, buddy. Well, thanks for listening to A Lifetime of Conversations. You can check us out at Lifetime of Conversations at YouTube for our channel on some podcast with some videos. Otherwise, we're going to catch you guys next time.
All right. See you later.